an outstanding first leg of a two-part series about dominating off-market listings. If you have been in real estate for longer than a day, you likely know that the current environment for listings is a little tight. That environment is driven by the challenges of what we just had for the last few years. Everybody who could wanted to sell their home, and then everybody now is like, hey, I have this awesome 3%, 4%, 5% interest rate. I don't know if I love that idea. And so we as realtors who are business owners, we want to be more than just a cork on the water, right? We want to buck the tide, not rise or fall with it. Have to recalibrate around what we can do to continue to grow our business. Now, if you are new to real estate, you may have a lot of opportunities with buyers and have not yet learned that working with listings is usually 1,000 times easier and more fun. So we're going to focus on listings as individual realtors and as a company. And to help us do that, we have two of our very best, Mr. Pat Barmann and Mrs. Jenn Wrubel, who have volunteered to be guinea pigs in a little project that we kicked off just last month. There's tremendous amount of coaching and training available through Keller Williams and through Keller Williams Maps Coaching, and they have a 12-week program on dominating off-market listings. And we said, man, it would be awesome if we could get 100% of our agents in that, but we know we can't because there is a cost barrier. So we said, let's invest in a few agents and have them invest in the rest of the company by teaching us what they learn. This is, we're going to call this teaching the few to impact the many. And we are thrilled to have Pat and Jenn leading this. Pat has been with our company since 2020. And has built an awesome business all over Northeast Ohio, predominantly on the east side. And Jenn Wrubel recently joined our company in February of this year, bringing her business over and joining up with Debbie Garson, who has been a long time agent with Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan. So we are thrilled to have them with us. You could look high and low and near and far, and you'd be hard pressed to find two better people to lead this conversation. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to them and have them tell you a little bit more about what they've learned. Team?
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for showing up today. We're looking forward to going over all this today.
Hi, I'm Jenn Wrubel. Pat and I have been meeting and preparing for this. And if your head is swirling at the end, imagine how ours feels. We have consolidated 14 plus hours into less than one. There is a ton of information available to share with you. Samples of everything that we're talking about are available. Social media posts, list resources, demos of said resources, free resources, letters, golden letters, etc. And we have access to all of this information, I think, for another few months. And we can download what we download. Anything you ask, just reach out to us and we will get back to you, provide you the information that you are requesting. If you have follow-up questions that we haven't touched on or don't know the answer to, we have resources to go out to. There are a few things that are really important to remember for today. They come up in every class at the beginning of every class, and a lot of them you've heard, but we just have to reiterate. When we're going off and after off-market listings, always come at a place of from a place of contribution, not hey, we heard your house is about to be foreclosed, but come from a source of helping. We have handouts, we have ideas for things to be laminated that will help ease this process.
And one thing I'll add to that is it really is a different conversation that you're having. You're not dealing with someone that's getting FSBO calls or expired calls. Like, these are people that really need help, and generally appreciate that you're calling to help them. As long as you come across as, hey, I'm Jen, I'm Pat, I'm looking to help you, not like, hey, I'm the hottest realtor in town, like I'm going to sell your house in a weekend. Like, hey, what can I help you with? Because they're dealing with something difficult that they don't understand, most likely. They need help. They're not getting it. So if you really genuinely call, hey, how can I help you? And just phrase it like that. I'm a professional, I'm an expert in this, which, after this class, you're going to know more than most people do. So you're an expert. Hey, I'm an expert. I do this type of stuff. I help people in your situation. Can I help you? Like 90% of people that I've called like this, they talk to me. At least it's in a bad, and they appreciate you trying to help them. So really that helps with any sales thing that you're doing, but specifically we've noticed with this one, it's a different tone you kind of need to have.
Always come from that place of contribution. The beginning of every session is approximately 5 minutes of forewarning, foreboding about the TCPA, which is the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, and all of the legal hoops and jumps you have to go through because we don't want to get in trouble. So look up TCPA guidelines, and whatever list you buy, create, find, don't scrub it once, scrub it twice. And something I hadn't realized until I took this class is up until the day of the auction, the owner has full control of what you do. So pre-foreclosure, they are in full control. You might have to speak to a bank, but just know that up until the day of the auction, the owner has full control of what happens with that property.
And really it's the day of the auction, the day that it sells. So I had one I dealt with recently where it was already being auctioned, but the auction didn't go through yet. So technically, I could have listed it. It didn't make sense for this specific client, but people think, oh, it's done. It's already too late for you to do anything. Up until the date that the home sells and title transfers, they do have options for them. And it's different depending on their situation, how much equity they have, all that stuff. But I think it's a misconception that people have, especially if you're going through it. Hey, I'm done. I got this thing in the mail. I can't do anything. They can. Not always, but there's different options.
Next slide. Okay. One of the first sessions was understanding the life cycle from foreclosure filing to the actual sale date. And data was brought and presented to us that with forbearance gone, that short sales are growing and growing across the country. It's not certain areas or high wealth, just across the country, short sales are growing and growing. And just a data point is that a short sale typically sells 15 to 20% below market value. So they're going to sell pretty quickly if you get in there and make that connection and get that listing. Keep that in mind. Again, market status, short sales growing and growing. Notice of defaultments are filed daily. We'll talk about that. They're known as NOD, notice of default, filed daily. So create a system in which you find out about those in your target areas daily, because it's updated daily.
And we'll talk about that as well, ways to get that information.
Correct. So there are 6 phases of the foreclosure process. And the first one is pre-foreclosure. So you've missed at least one mortgage or one tax payment. Then the fun starts for the homeowner. At 60 days, you'll get a demand letter, and at 90 days, legal action, the notice of default will take place. And the day you get the notice of default is the day that the foreclosure process has officially started.
And then with that information becomes available as well when they're in the 90-day
window after that notice. That's your sweet spot to reach out when you find that notice of default.
And really, the sooner you can reach out to people, the better. I found the first few calls I made, I was calling them, and it may have been a little bit too late for me to help them. But the quicker you can call and offer your assistance, the better. The more time, the more ability you have. If I want to list it, hey, I have time to do all these things.
Correct. And you'll learn it faster Faster is better, and that's why you need a system to check your source of defaults in place. SMART goals. Just know what day, what time, who's checking, who's calling, who's following up, who's doing the marketing. All relies on that notice of default. So we also talked about what we can do as agents to become owners in this space, to become known in this space. And really, it's very, very simple stuff. And Pat and I both did these few tasks. So check your online profiles. We both did not realize we had realtor.com profiles, right?
Yeah, we'll go over
Yeah,
that.
Realtor, Zillow. In your areas of expertise, you put in distressed, foreclosure, and short sale. People will look for those terms when they're looking for agents. Also register, it's free on auction.com. Choose your areas. You'll get a lot of emails, which will give you a really good insight into the number of properties that are distressed. The other thing to keep in mind, and I think Pat might have dealt with this once, is if you find a hot item that's about to, it's getting its notice of default, check the MLS. Someone might have beaten you to the punch, and then take that one off of your list.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to go over these too?
Yeah, so the next two slides are visual calendars of how the foreclosure process works. We were instructed that these are phenomenal visual pieces to show as you are coming from a place of helping these people. Laminate these visuals so people can actually see where they are in the process, because the process is pretty quick. So it helps ensure that they understand that timeliness is critical. And we have clearer visuals we can share with you.
Perfect. Yes, this goes all the way to 0 days to 180 plus. All right. Now we're going to talk a little bit about, I guess, any questions from anyone about what we've covered so far in the first part?
Again, it's a very high level, so we expect questions.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about pre-foreclosure marketing right now. Really, the first step with this is finding pre-foreclosure. So that's something that it seems difficult to do, but the more that they've taught us and the more that I've kind of gotten into it, I kind of have a system that's working now. So the first thing that is free is to go to the county website. Now, this isn't what you look up typically when you're doing a listing. This is the sheriff sale website. So I'll pull that up momentarily. So with this one, you do need to create an account, which is free, to be able to go on here, get the information. It has a calendar of when auctions are going to be. Bid, you can actually do bidding on this website with the county. One thing I found about that is it's kind of confusing. So the county website is free, but there was a couple of times where I read something in a way that wasn't the way it should have been read. I called an attorney for some questions about one. He's like, hey, you're right. It does show as an auction now and in like a month. So I thought the auction was in a month. The auction actually was going on now, and there was a second auction if the first one didn't go through in a month. He's like, you wouldn't have known this unless you are a lawyer and know exactly what you're looking for. So after doing that, again, it's a free way to get into it if you're interested in it, to look at it. Another thing that they recommended is called PropStream. And let me pull these up for you to kind of show you what these look like.
PropStream is the resource that the leader of this class reflects on and shows us nearly every single week.
Yeah.
It's a great resource.
So if you guys want to try it out, it's free the first 7 days for anyone. After that, it's $99 per month. But I'm going to kind of show you what it looks like. This is the county sheriff website. Again, make an account. I don't have any money that I put into it. You can if you actually want to do bids on it. But with the calendar, you can see, okay, what's coming up next. So this is July. There's something coming up on the 31st. You can see exactly what is being auctioned. And then with this, you have their information. Here's the address. Here's the appraised value, opening bid. And again, it kind of goes back to what Jen said at the beginning, is they have the ability to sell the property up until title transfer. So they still have time to do something at this point. But the sooner you can get in and talk to them, the better. So you can go to next month, and that would be what I'd recommend doing, is go into August, seeing what's available this way. But what I found is probably worth the money if you're interested in this is PropStream. So this one, again, it's free for 7 days. After that, you do pay, but there's a ton of data in here. I got pulled up right now 44118, which is where I live. And it shows you these are just pre-foreclosure. So these are people that have started the process, and they need help. So from here you can click on their name. It's an LLC. Figure out who they are. A lot of times it's owned by an individual, sometimes an LLC. But this will give you the information that you're looking for, and you can also narrow it down and see, hey, what pre-foreclosures have popped up in the last 4 days. And with PropStream too, you could look up anywhere. I'm not just stuck with 44118. You can go, hey, I want to go in Lakewood today. I want to go. It's national. Yeah, you don't have to pay per zip code or anything. It's just $100 a month for all this information, which is, really, it's crazy how much you can get. I've been digging into this and just finding more and more. So with that, another thing they talked about was mailing marketing material. Different websites that you can use to send things out to people, not only that are in distress, but just in general. I've taken some of these and used it for my regular business. So a couple of things they talked about was yellowletters.com, which I'll show you here in a second. With this one, I requested a sample letter request, which I haven't got yet, but I requested maybe 2 weeks ago. But they send you a packet of like 100 different mailers that they offer. That you can use to this or to farming, your neighborhood, whatever you want to do, but definitely beneficial for this. Another thing they talked about was personal marketing company, which I'll show you in a second, and how that works. I didn't know that this existed, and this is definitely a great resource. And then Amazon colored envelopes, they recommend a golden letter type thing that I'm sure you've heard of before, but their experience is you get a lot more success if you have, really bright colored envelopes and paper that you send out to people. Hey, they're going to read this. Hey, this is unique. This is different. This is bright orange or bright pink. Let me make sure I read this one. It looks like it's something different than what I'm getting all the time. So let me kind of show you what some of these things look like. So this is the website Yellow Letters and Postcards. So with this one, request a sample, but there's all kinds of things in here, different products that you can send out for anyone, letters, postcards, mailing lists, all that's available to you. And it's definitely a good website to take a look at. This one, go ahead, yeah.
This is the one you're using.
So I'm using this one now. It's called the Personal Marketing Company. So with this, there's tons of different options that you can do. If you're like, hey, I've got this lead, I've got this client, and I've got a couple that I met. I call them every month, and I have been for a long time. What's another thing that I can do to get my name out to them that's different than calling them all the time? So with this, you could spend, what I did was this program down here, expressible program, 3-year program for $13, 13 different postcards branded to you. Hey, I don't have to do anything. I push a button, here's their address. They get one right away. They get another one, I think, within 15 days. So as you know, this is a quick process, but this could definitely apply to your regular business or to pre-foreclosures too. I want to get some mailers out. I don't want to do all the work, spend a little bit of money. There's many different programs, 3-year, 5-year programs you can do, which is definitely interesting. And then this is what the mailers look like if you want to create your own. Again, the Astro Brights is what they're, yeah, of course.
So what people also don't realize is that a short sale creates a credit benefit to somebody versus a foreclosure. So even though you're wondering, why would you send 13 postcards to someone who's about to lose their houses? You might be their agent to help them find an apartment. And in 2 or 3 years with the short sale, they can go ahead and then buy. So you will follow this person through the process and hopefully become their buyer's agent. So don't think a short sale is a short sale and you're done. It's a short sale and building a relationship with someone who thinks you just helped them out immensely.
Definitely. And then this is the paper that they recommend using. Again, Astro Bright, just, you know, it really stands out. All right. And then more marketing. So what to mail? Okay. So I found the people. I've got, you know, the pre-foreclosures or the bankruptcy, whatever you want to find on PropStream or on the county website. What do? Call them, obviously, would be the first thing I would say. Mailers, if you want to do automated, those different websites. And I'm going to pull up a couple examples of, there's 4 different mailers that they've had success with, that you can brand to yourself. I just put my picture and Northeast Ohio in it, print them off. I've sent some of these out. No replies yet, but you know, it's a long game. If I get a couple people to call me back, then I'm winning. How to find phone numbers. I'm sure some people know this. What I've been using is fastpeoplesearch.com. I often use that to find people's phone numbers. Again, you can always make sure that they're not on the do not call list. Scrub twice. Another thing that I use is called Forewarn. I'm not sure if everyone knows about this. This was available about 6 months ago. It still is, but there was an email in the MLS about it. It's through Akron Cleveland Area Board of Realtors. Probably all the boards offer this, but it's an app that you get. It's free. If you're, you know, on the board, if you're a realtor, anyone here would get this, but it's on my phone. I can look up basically anyone's name, phone number, address, criminal history, all kinds of stuff that is on my phone. Anytime I get a call, hey, who's this person? I can just click a button. Sometimes I can look them up even before the phone stops ringing, or obviously making outgoing calls. Hey, this person is going through a foreclosure. I can look them up this way. Just another way to try that. And then what to say, basically to say, hey, I'm a distressed property expert. I'm here to help you solve your problems. When we talked about at the beginning, it's more like, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm not a salesperson. I help solve problems. You're going through something. I'm here to help you. And usually it's not about the money to these people. I've talked to people, like, they say, I don't care if I don't make any money. I just don't want to deal with these calls anymore. I don't want to deal with court letters. It's too much for me. If you can find someone to buy this house for me and get it off my plate, that's all I need. That's all I want. And that'll change their world. So let me show you a couple of those mailers as well, which I'm happy to send you guys if you want to take a look at it on your own. So they recommend like going through these 4 different ones. Again, I understand you're facing a difficult situation with your property. Basically, I specialize in distressed properties in Northeast Ohio. I'm here to help. So you send this one right away, and then there's, you know, 3 or 4 other ones. Hey, I'm eager to help you. Anything I can do for you, and then kind of explain the 10-step process of what it is that we can do to assist you and kind of how that all works. So there's a couple more of them. And then this is Fast People Search, which again, look up, make sure they're not on the do not call list. Look up their phone number. It's quicker, easier to call them if you can, but if not, definitely send them letters and do all that too. All right, so let's go over and talk about short sales.
Okay. I already broached this topic earlier. Obviously, this is the low-hanging fruit that most people try and avoid. So the short sale process begins with the notice of default. So what is a short sale? Seller owes more than the property is worth, but it could be due to various reasons. What I didn't know until this started was they have to be valid reasons approved by the lender. You can't hide money, hide something in an LLC. Everything is searched, sought after, and found out. So the bank has to say these are valid reasons for us to consider the short sale. The bank has to approve the short sale. And in that process, a short sale package is shared with the current owner. So she gave us some really, really good information. There is no uniform process across any lender on how a short sale package process is handled. You know, we sometimes overthink things. She said, don't. You are going to get a package and it's going to tell you fill line 1, fill line 2, fill line 3, jump up and down 6 times, do a squat, and then, you know, follow page 7, go back to page 6. She said, all you have to do is follow it. Read directions and follow the process. Don't overthink it. And you will stand above the rest because the bar is low. Just follow the directions. So there's a 10-step process that we'll go over on the next slide. But our job in this situation is to manage that package and find out and follow the steps to complete it in its entirety. Speed is important. Accuracy is important. Following the directions, uber important. So sooner and faster is better, and you need to get the seller proactive. And she said, this is a fantastic area to litmus test how your client is going to act and how eager they are to get this done. The packet is cumbersome. It's a total packet of information from age of windows. When was the last time an appliance was used? Do you have any liens? It's cumbersome, but they have to fill it out. They're the only ones that know that information. So if you have a seller that is very hesitant and needs a ton of prodding, that's your red flag that this might not be the client to work with. And I thought that was great of her to share with us because we can't fill it out. We can't sit there and write it for them. We don't know the information and they have to be truthful. During this process, and Pat had mentioned earlier, you spoke with a bankruptcy attorney or just an attorney?
Just an attorney.
She said, everyone should just go on. Everyone has social media presence. Hey, who do you know is a great bankruptcy attorney around here? You'll get 16 phone calls from concerned friends, but you're also going to get 30 names from people who know bankruptcy attorneys. Call them, ask them how you can help them, because then you will be top of mind. You're building a relationship with this bankruptcy attorney or 2 or 3 that you can call, you can help, they can refer people to you. And it's mutually beneficial. You also want to leverage your relationship with title to pull any and all legal information about the project you're about to list. The other piece of the puzzle that I found very interesting was you will see you have to list across the property in the MLS and note legally that it's a short sale. And if you look through all of the options, you'll see that short sale is an option. So you have to list it according to the packet directions from the lender. You have to identify the property the correct way. You'll also notice in a lot of these listings that offers will not be reviewed or considered until 7, 10, 15 days. Again, no uniform answer to this. You have to follow your packet. And the offer that is accepted must yield the highest net return to the bank. So it's not necessarily cash. So keep that in mind as well. So you meet with a person going through hard times. Very simple 10-step process. You are going to sign the MLS listing agreement the exact same way that you do with any other listing client. You have to reach out to the bank to see their specific short sale requirements, 7 days, 10 days, etc. Then you have to have your client and their buy-in send authorization for that lender to speak with you on their behalf. Things get done a lot quicker when 3 people are on the phone call versus 2. Follow up, follow up, follow up, because the bank is going to send you that short sale package that you have to follow step by step, and your seller has to follow step by step, and you're going to complete that package. And because you're a good agent, you're going to submit that package to the lender and then follow up with them daily until they acknowledge receipt. Then the next step is BPO and appraisal, and then negotiate with loss mitigatory, which I still am not quite sure what that means. But I'm assuming that has to do with the bank.
Yeah, I think it's someone that works for the bank that you just negotiate a price with.
What's acceptable.
Mhm.
And then short sale hopefully gets accepted and it's done. You get a full commission when you list a short sale house.
Mhm.
The only time you don't get a full commission is if you happen to represent the seller and the buyer, and then it's a straight 4-5, but that will all be spelled out in that package.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Hi, this is Chris. With the short sale, now, do you have to basically meet the client first and find out they need to do a short sale? Or is this something you can talk with a bank and find out who is in the process of going into a short sale?
So you're going to be looking at notice of default. So they've already gotten information from their lender that there's a problem. So you
Oh,
are going to
okay.
talk with the people because most of the time they're living there. If it's a renter living in that property, it's a different story and there's a different resource. But you're already in the midst of the process when you reach out to these people to offer help.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good question. And then we're going to talk more about marketing strategies. One thing that you'll need to do is if you're calling people, sending out mailers, putting yourself on Facebook out there as expert in distressed properties, they're going to look you up. Hey, they're going to like type in your name. Who's this person? Do they know anything about this? Make sure that you put in there that you work with distressed properties. Make sure you're saying I'm an expert in this. And again, even if you've never done one, you know more than 99% of people by doing this class. Just, hey, you're an expert because you're there to help them and solve problems, and you're going to do that for them. So I went through to my Zillow, which I haven't updated in 2 years, and made sure that that's up there. There's different specialties that you can pick. Hey, I specialize in this and that. Same with LinkedIn. Same with realtor.com. Again, people are going to research you. Take 5 minutes, make sure everything is updated with anything, if you haven't checked those in a while. But if you do want to get into this and you're going to reach out as someone who specializes in this, make sure.
In that for the search function.
Exactly.
I had to unclick relocation or staging experience to add in short sale foreclosure.
Mhm.
But we know it's the low hanging fruit, and forbearance is going away, and the numbers are growing and growing for short sale.
Yeah, they're growing a lot. Another thing is partnering with local nonprofits. So they talk about different niches, different things you can get into. A couple of things that I'm interested in. One is distressed properties. Of course, we're talking about this today. Another is working with seniors, people older than 65. So I reached out to an organization in Northeast Ohio called The Villages. And what they do basically is they help people above 65 with homes. I need someone to come fix a light bulb for me. I need someone to, fix whatever needs to be fixed. Give them contractors, give them all that kind of stuff. Give them rides to the doctor. Just kind of help them build a community. They get together like once a month. So I reached out to the leader of the organization. Hey, I work with seniors. I also work with distressed properties. So we got together, we grabbed coffee a couple of weeks back. Learn about the organization. Here's what I do. I work with people that, need help that are older. I also work with people that financially, maybe they're underwater, they have foreclosure, whatever it may be. So I developed a relationship with Paul, who runs this organization. Hey, if I ever have any questions about any of the stuff, you're my go-to guy. He runs an organization with 200 some people in it, all with their families. So am I going to get a lead today? Probably not, but I'm going to stay in touch with them. And again, coming from contribution, this is what I specialize in. I'm a realtor, not only just helping first-time buyers or sellers. I have really good knowledge about these things, which need more expertise. And so they talk about different niches, things you're interested in. For me, that seemed to be kind of a good fit. Let me show you just a couple things about this slide. So really just go to all your different, social, Zillow, make sure you pick the right specialties. Hey, I work with seniors, I work with distressed properties. So I went through and did that on Zillow. LinkedIn, I haven't updated this in forever, but in your description, you only get a couple things you can say, proven track record, helping distressed properties if you do want to get interested in getting into this. And again, if you're sending mailers out saying that you are an expert on it, they're going to look you up. Hey, let's type in their name and make sure that they're legit. So same thing, realtor.com. I had to make some calls because I haven't done it in so long to they had the wrong email for me on all these, but it's definitely worth it to do that. And then with my calling, just reaching out to nonprofits. This is the organization that I'm now working with, the Village in the Heights. And again, this is something that intrigued me, working with a lot of, older sellers and learning about their families and all that. But not only do they know that I do this, but I also help distress property. So, hopefully, knock on wood, I'll be able to get a lot of referrals and leads just by, making a call, making connections and helping people. All right. And the next thing that we talked about a little bit was sending mailers out through command. This is not something that I actually knew that we could do through command up until recently. And I've obviously sent emails out and Facebook and all that, but you can actually send mailers out through command. You can farm a neighborhood, you can do it just sold, just listed, whatever you want to do. And it's really simple. It's really easy. It's tied to your command. All your contacts are in there already. And again, this is done to establish yourself as an expert on distressed properties. So I'll show you kind of the basics of that, which no one ever showed me before, which is really nice to be able to do. Some niches that they talked about: pre-foreclosure, short sales, REOs, bankruptcy, as Jen mentioned, like having an attorney or two that you send business to back and forth. Vacant houses. Hey, you're driving through your neighborhood, you see this vacant house sitting there. They probably need help. There's something going on. There's no inventory. This house the grass has not been cut in 2 months. It's looking dilapidated. Maybe I can call them and see, hey, what's going on? Maybe it's a short sale. Maybe it's someone passed away and it's in an estate. You never know. But just pay attention when you're driving around. There's so much opportunity out there if you just kind of know where to look. Divorce attorney, tax lien, trust, deaths, the MLS. There's still deals on the MLS sometimes, or you can put them up yourself, hopefully. And then networking with investors as well. And I'm going to show you really quick in command, basically how you can make a mailer. So on your command over here, and I'm going to do this super quickly. If you guys want like a more thorough thing, I'd be happy to walk you through this. But campaigns over here, I always said, okay, there's paid ads. I can do Facebook, I can do emails, but you could actually do direct mail through here. I've done a couple in the past. And actually I've gotten results from it too. But with this, this one.
You can skip.
All right, sorry. My Zoom was blocking out what I need to do on this. But really, if you just go to the campaign direct mail, if you go through here, follow the prompts, it's on the right side of the screen. You can create a mailer, send it out, and you can pick out a neighborhood. You can pick out like a list of people. Hey, I want my clients, I've added in a command that I know are distressed. And then you can put your name on it. Hey, this is this is Pat. I specialize in distressed properties, and it costs, I think, around 40 to 50 cents per mailer, including postage. And really, you can go through and do this in 10 minutes and send out 200, to a neighborhood, to a certain set of investors you have in command already. And it's a really good thing to be able to do. And it's so much easier. Like I used to do them by hand before sometimes, or I did through the postal service. I've done it that way before. And it's just a lot simpler to do it that way.
So in one of the later sessions, we discussed lists and a few things that Pat just discussed: vacant properties, properties owned by an LLC. There are so many resources that are unbelievable, and we can discuss them with you, that will pull up, like the map you saw of 44118. You can pull up houses that are noted as vacant. So lists that we've never heard of, we have videos of walkthroughs on how they are used. One of the lists, I think it's called Black Knight, a service. If you choose a property there that's owned by an LLC, you can click on that property and it will let you know every every
The owner, if they own like 36 properties.
under 36 different LLCs.
Yeah.
You will see everything owned by who the core owner is, which is amazing because as we know with flips especially, LLC names change very, very quickly. So again, when we got through the list section of this course, TCPA, she reads it every single time. Always double scrub, always be compliant because although we all get phone calls and that we're not supposed to get, people do it all the time. But if you get caught and you're not following the guidelines, you can get in a lot of trouble. So again, unlimited resources. She said, if you're going to start doing this type of business, and there's such a need for people to start focusing on these properties, start local. Again, you're already experts among all peers who are not on this class because there's so much information to learn. But start local, get comfortable, use the scripts, use the social media suggested posts, and become more comfortable before you expand. And when you start this approach, sorry, there's a bee in our room.
It's okay.
Use a SMART goal approach, specific goals, measurable goals, attainable goals, relevant goals, and timely goals. Create a process, stick to it. Again, you're going to be checking notice of defaults daily. Start from there and build your goals on how many calls, how many mailers, everything that you do creates accountability. Another really important piece that she mentioned a few times, but not specifically, is phone numbers cost money, and good phone numbers cost money, and then you still have to scrub them. That if you're in an area and you're going to put a flyer on a door, do that street. It's more than likely there's somebody else there also in the same situation, and you're catching them before anybody else does. So find your local resource for the notice of defaults. It's a public notice that's filed with the court and states that the borrower is in default. And then for us, we have Realist within our MLS. Some other MLSs have IMAP, IMAPP. Learn to use your Realist app. Call the county, ask how to use it within the system. There's so much more information available in Realist than we realize. I'm still playing around with it.
And then with that too, something I did playing around with that, we talked about this, but they do offer classes. So the Tioga County is offering a class like the 14th of August, and I'm doing it's free
To really like learn how to dig deep and learn what you're looking at, because it can be confusing. No one here is a lawyer, I don't think. So there's things that I didn't really understand. I called an attorney, they helped me, but just they do have resources that are free and available on the first website I showed you, the sheriff county website, that they offer classes twice a month to really allow you to understand what you're looking at.
And how much information is available besides what we, probably all of us, use daily or weekly. A much deeper dive than what we currently use it for. So here are some of the resources that we've been shown. So we had talked before about when you're going after these sellers that are in distress, that a lot of the time they're renters. So if you're dealing with renters and you have to get them out of the distressed property, the second listing is Cole Realty Resource. That's your greatest resource to use if you're dealing with people that are stuck in a house that they don't own. You're the owner, you want to sell it, there's a renter that won't move out. Google the term cash for keys. This is when it comes in. It's a cash incentive to give people who have zero money to move out so the house can be sold. Also, Melissa Data, highly recommended. Black Knight Inc. is the resource that dives deep even into the investor level with there are a few companies that own hundreds of thousands of dollars of houses, and everyone assumes they're the big fish and you can't touch them. Because they are so big, they have representatives in many states. She said a lot of them are always looking for help to offload single and multiple properties. So again, the Red X It's third or fourth up from the bottom. Great resource, referenced every single week in our discussions. So just take a look at these. Register for auction.com. Just realize phone numbers cost money. Be smart, use the smart plan goals. And if you are approaching a house, bring more paperwork to approach the houses on either side of the street and down the road, because other people are going to be in the same position, most likely.
And with that, even if it's simple as I've done this before, I have a little note, like a little note I'll leave on someone. Hey, this is Pat with Keller Williams. My phone number is this. Call me about your house. People are going to call you. They're, oh, what is this? Like, why am I supposed to call this person? It's not scary to it. Like, it's not like anything bad. Hey, I just was in your neighborhood, but it's a reason for people to call you back. I have these little sticky notes that say Pat Barmann, Keller Williams. I spent $9 on them on Vistaprint. It's just a really simple thing you can do. Again, if you're driving and you see a property that they're not cutting the grass or something, they may need help. And they'll be willing to talk to you. Anything else you want to add?
No, but don't be afraid of going after the investors. They need more help than you realize.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is working with investors. For me, I work with a lot of sphere. And one thing they recommended doing is to reach out to your sphere. Hey, who's an investor that maybe I don't know? So this is a post that I put on Facebook, I don't know, about a month and a half or so ago. So I actually came across a client that needed to sell. They didn't want to list it. They actually wanted me to buy it from them. It didn't work out for that, but I just basically posted, who do you know who's looking for a solid real estate opportunity? You know, I have a home in Lyndhurst that they're looking to sell. They don't, for whatever reason, they didn't want to post pictures. They wanted to sell like in 2 weeks. They wanted to close or move into St. Louis. They just didn't want to deal with it. So it was a good opportunity for me. And the way that I phrased my post, when I got, I don't know, 10 or 15 different likes, comments, these are people I didn't even know were interested in real estate. This is just my Facebook, and you can see there's people like tagging their friends. Hey, call Michael Smith, call Ashley Marie. I don't know who these people were at the time. I called them. Hey, you're an investor. What are you looking for? Oh, I'm looking for this. I'm looking for that. And I think it's important when you're talking to anyone about investing, you don't want to put them on the spot. Hey, are you interested in investing? I don't know. Like, that's kind of like putting the pressure on them. Whenever I talk about people, like, hey, who do you know is interested in it? You know, do you know, like, or I have this opportunity that's fantastic that I found in Cleveland Heights. Like, I don't want to like, hey, do you want to do it with me? It's like, hey, man, this is what the numbers look like. If I just had someone that would be willing to do this with me, it would be such a good deal. And then they can volunteer. If they're interested in doing something, they'll say it, but it's not like, hey, you better do this deal with me. They need to kind of phrase it that way. I think it makes a big difference whenever I talk to people about investing.
The other point is it changes by state and county by county, but I believe Cuyahoga County has in-person auctions. Best way to meet investors, go to the auctions.
Yep. Another thing here is your local RIA. So your real estate investing in the area. I've been to a couple meetings before. Actually, I met an agent that's joined KW at an event like this a couple years back, and she's in my downline now. But I definitely have gone to them and met investors that are looking, and you can kind of see what they're looking for. Again, you can match them with the people that you're meeting, sending out your mailers and making the phone calls you're going to make. Obviously, reaching out to the Facebook group. I mean, you'd be silly not to reach out to everyone in the office. There's 450 agents working with you on your team. They all have different investors they're working with that can really expand exponentially what you're doing. If you have potential listing or a buyer, connect with them. I mean, I post on that thing every 2 or 3 weeks with a question or a buyer need or seller need. So reach out to that. It's a huge resource. One of the best things about, you know, working here at this market center. And then the last thing is the county website. So an example of this, like I was writing an offer like a week ago, and I looked up to see the owner, and it figured out that the owner owned like 13 properties like in University Heights. It happened to be that I knew another buyer investor that's looking to buy like 10 properties in University Heights. These were not listed, but I was able to figure out, through what I've showed you before, their phone number, called them. It hasn't happened yet. Maybe it won't happen. Who knows? But isn't it bad? Just play around with the county website. If you see that there's multiple properties owned by an entity, call them. Hey, like, can I help you with something? They probably need a realtor. They probably have one, but maybe their realtor is not great. Maybe they're not being proactive. But if you just go to the county website, you can type in anything. And if there's a bunch of anything, you can type in homes, and maybe there's 500 Homes LLC Cleveland. Oh my God, they own all these properties. Let me call them and see, are you distressed? Is there anything I can do to help you? It's a good at bat that you get. Again, the whole thing with this is just another way to get people to talk to you that need help for certain things. But I've found some opportunities just going to the county website, just typing in different owners, and hopefully this one gets me like 7 deals out of it. We'll see. But it's a chance for me to do that. All right, cool. So that's kind of the last slide we wanted to go over. Do you guys have any questions about anything that we've talked about so far?
Hey, I have a quick question. Just curious. I'm not sure that I heard it. The TCPA, we should follow that.
If you want to.
Only if you want to, and just double scrub every now and then.
Yeah, every now and then. No, that is great feedback and great insight. Great to see, like, there's so much information out there. I mean, you guys are both experienced realtors. You've knocked around on some of these sites. As you were working through this, or were you almost taken a little bit aback about how much information and data and like direct to the seller you can get just with a few clicks?
Totally. I mean, our teacher, she's brilliant. She knows so much that she just like talks, and you kind of like, oh my God, I can't even keep up with her. So a couple of the classes I've had to like rewatch. Oh, what was she talking about with this? But with anything, just one of the things where this one's interesting to me, like for me, I don't know if I'm going to work with, bankruptcy attorneys. That doesn't sound appealing to me personally, but I like the nonprofit thing. And it's something that once she talked about it, like, oh, this is something I can do. I can, partner with them. These people need help, and they could be, maybe they had, a forbearance with COVID, and those are going away, and they need help. So you can kind of like layer these things on top of each other. There's so much information out there, and I found a ton for free, but then I'm like, you know what? I wasted kind of a day because I didn't figure something out that I could have done with
The website that I showed you guys.
PropStream. So invest a little money, and if you don't like it, it's a month. It's $100. It's not free, but it could be worth it to try it out and see if you like it.
And if you use PropStream or the RedX and you create your searches, they're saved. You're not recreating the wheel every single time or a day.
A couple questions from the chat. I think maybe you just responded about the Cash for Keys. That was the Cole Realty resource.
No, Cole Realty is a great list source for people dealing with renters and properties that are going through foreclosure.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then
Wait, what was that again? I think that's the question I asked. Cole
Right,
Realty?
ColeRealtyResource.com.
Okay, and what do? They help people get the renters out?
They're great for list sources dealing with getting phone numbers for people dealing with renter situations.
Okay, Cole
That's
Realty
Resource.com.
it's in it's in the chat under Pat Barman's name.
Okay, thank you.
And then Cash for Keys too. She gave us a template, and it's a super simple contract that you just fill out. Okay, I'm going to give you this. You have to be out by this date. You're not going to destroy anything. It's literally like, it's not a Word document that someone made. I'm sure it's totally fine, but it's not like.
And you need bank approval for obviously cash for keys, but It's incentivizing those who shouldn't be incentivized to
Mhm.
leave with cash so they have money to move.
Okay,
And if you don't damage the house, you get the money. If you damage the house, it goes away.
thank you.
Are you guys willing to share your slides? So there's a couple people that asked, if we could.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll share it with everyone. Yep.
And
Nice.
this is the tip of the iceberg. And things tie in more and more each week.
Mhm.
We'll see the same things. Oh, that's how it connects, et cetera.
And we're only halfway through the class.
Yeah. And so everybody on here should mark their calendars for, it was put in the chat at the beginning. I'm going to say it and put it in the chat now. September 20th at 11 a.m. September 20th at 11 a.m. is the second half of this. So Wendy Dixon and Jason Barron, two of our West Side agents, are going to be bringing the second half of this home. So make sure September 20th, 11 a.m. we'll get this full end-to-end connectivity around dominating off-market listings.
All right, can I ask one last question?
Yeah.
Please, yeah.
What could you go over the Realist app one more time? And also the correct spelling of it too.
So Realist is a tab within the MLS. And it's
Okay.
a tax resource center. So do you want to open your MLS? And it's REALIST. But it's
Got it.
within
Thank
our
you.
MLS. Sure.
Yeah, I'll get logged in and show you where that is. So it's up here. It's the fourth tab from the Realist Tax, and it takes you to here, and it automatically logs you in if you're doing the city MLS. But you can find tons of information here about taxes, about whatever you're looking for. This is a good guide for you.
And there's a class on the 14th through the county on how to use this website.
Correct.
Got it. Thanks a lot. I knew nothing about this.
Right. So most of us look up an address to make sure we have the correct seller's name if our buyers are buying a property, but that is 1/1000th of what this website can do. And that's why we should all register for that class.
Yep.
Yeah, and a great example. I mean, you're already paying for this, right? When you sign up for the MLS, you're paying for
Yep.
this. Like, hey, where does my $456 every 6 months go? Well, you could put it to work with some of the things we learned today.
Yep.
Right.
Any other questions? We're definitely will share the slides, and of course, Jen and I are like, if you guys have any questions, you want specific things, like, we're happy to chat with you anytime. Just let us know what we can do to help you guys out.
Awesome. So if you share those with me and Carrie, we'll get an email out to everybody with the recording and your contact info, so everyone can leverage you all as resources as they start to dig in and take advantage of this.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.